is watching this sick shit. This is sickening.
Got your blood clot, man.
This man is right. Stop looking at those disgusting SpongeBob feet pics.
Stop it. Get some help.
And I can help you. Start watching Boy Dilly instead. I make Dead by Daylight videos and I got a very big cock. Also, look at this beautiful dog. Yeah, he's dead now. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to make me a happy little boy. Also, you can become my supporter by clicking that jingly wingly join button. I will play Dead by Daylight with you, you will get an exclusive Discord role, and you will get to see some exclusive secret videos. Join now and satisfy your inner needs. Anyway, let's get straight into the video. Hello my friends, today I will show you some of the best survivor builds in the game, so you can destroy those virgin killers. Keep in mind that Dead by Daylight is a very open-ended game. This game has at least 234 perks. This game has gen rushing builds, instant healing builds, anti-tunneling builds, speed builds, vaginal penetration builds, and more. Okay, maybe not vaginal penetration builds. But anyway, Dead by Daylight has a bunch of variety and I love that this game has so much of variety. I will show you my favorite survivor builds in this game. I think that these builds are strong, they work for me, and some of you will absolutely love these builds, but others will say that these builds are shitty, and I completely understand that. So I will give you builds for different situations. I will give you one gen rushing build, one anti-tunneling build, and then I will give you some more situational builds. So let's start with the first survivor build, which I think is fucking awesome. Okay, since you can see this build right in front of you, I'm gonna start with an instant heal up build, which is my favorite instant healing build in the game. So if you like to cleanse totems frequently for those extra blood points, and if you want to take care of yourself, if you don't trust random teammates, especially if you are a solo survivor player, this build will benefit you greatly. For this build to work, you will need inner healing, head on, overzealous, and adrenaline. Also, you will need to take a map. If you take a green map item, then don't forget to take odd, stamp, and red twine addons with you. Rainbow map will work as well, but I think it's cheaper just to take a green normal map with these two addons. Okay, so the way this build works is pretty simple. You might ask, why the fuck would I need a map? First of all, when you spawn in the game, you don't go to repair generator. You got to find a totem, and that's why you use map, so you can find those totems as fast as possible, just like you see in this video. Then you cleanse a totem. If you cleanse a normal totem, thanks to your Overzealous perk, you will be able to repair generators 10% faster, as long as you don't get hit by the killer. But if you are lucky enough to find and cleanse a hex totem, you will repair generators 20% faster, which is crazy, and it will help you to finish repairing those generators very quickly. After cleansing a totem, you will activate inner healing as well, and it means that if you are injured, all you need to do is get into a locker, and within the time of 6 seconds you will be fully healed. I think that inner healing is a very underrated perk, and it's honestly one of the best survivor perks in the game. You can rely on this perk to be fully healed at any given time. If you bring this build with you, that means that you will have to spend some time in the locker, and if the killer knows that you are in the locker, that's why you take head on, so you can stun the killer, and I think this is a perfect exhaustion perk for this build. But don't fuck up with this perk like I did in this clip. The fourth perk for this build is Adrenaline, which is, in my opinion, the best endgame perk, and you know, it's very useful in the end. It's almost guaranteed that by the end of the game all of the totems will be cleansed anyway, so you will want to heal up as fast as possible if you are injured, and Adrenaline will guarantee that you will be healed up. If you are not sure if you like this build or if you don't, then there are some alternative variations to this build, so let me show you another instant healing build. For this build you will need Inner Healing, Prove Thyself, Overzealous and Overcome. Now let me explain you how this build works and why it's effective. So first of all, the most important perk in my opinion for this build to work is Overcome. The point of this build is not to get injured, or at least try not to get injured. Your point is not to loop around and, you know, try to escape the killer. No, just try not to get caught by the killer. And this is where the map is very effective. It's because the first thing you're gonna do when you bring this build with you is not go for the gen. It's not like do some random bullshit like search chests. No, use your map to locate at least one totem and then cleanse that totem. By cleansing that totem, your Overzealous will activate. Prove Thyself is not necessary in my opinion, but it's like the perk that I like to take with me. If you are struggling to get maps like I do on my blood webs, there are usually no maps whatsoever, you can take something like Detective's Hunch instead of Prove Thyself, but most likely you will want to get that extra bonus repair speed, especially if you are playing with your friends. Then Overzealous plus Prove Thyself makes repairing generators twice as fast, like you will be rushing through gens. And Inner Healing is another great perk. Now let me explain how it works. Basically, you are not trying to get hit by the killer and you're trying to rush your generators by taking advantage of Overzealous and Prove Thyself, but most likely you will get located by the killer no matter what. Like, you need to be extremely lucky not to get found by the killer in like multiple games in a row. That's when Overcome helps you, because when you get hit by the killer, you gain an additional movement speed for 2 extra seconds, and most killers, especially if they are good killers, they will be like, nah, it's not worth chasing this survivor. When you get lost, you get into a locker and you heal yourself easily, because previously when the match began, you had to cleanse a totem to activate your Overzealous. Overzealous is not the only perk that activates by cleansing the totem. Inner Healing activates as well, so cleansing totems is something extremely important for this build. It works incredibly well if you're playing with your friends, and if you're able to tell your friends, hey, I brought 2 perks that will benefit me as long as I will be able to cleanse the totems, so please don't cleanse those totems, leave them for me. And if your friends are friendly, if they are not stupid pieces of shit, then they will be like, okay, cleanse those totems, you know. And this build is very effective, but I'm telling you guys, instead of Prove Thyself, you can take something like Detective's Hunch. You can also choose to bring something like Vigil or Bond instead of Prove Thyself. All of these perks work well, not to mention Off the Record combines very well together with Inner Healing. In summary, and I made this one for you, Inner Healing is necessary for this build, Overcome is almost necessary, but thinking now, you can switch it to Smash Hit, because I know that some people can't stand Overcome. I used to be one of those people, so if you can't stand this perk, change it to Smash Hit, but in my opinion Overcome is a little bit better, because immediately after getting hit you can gain that distance, and when you gain that distance, get into a locker, and immediately as soon as you get into that locker, your exhaustion starts to recover. Prove Thyself or Off the Record, Vigil, Detective's Hunch or Bond, experiment and choose your favorite perk. They all work incredibly well with this build, but in my opinion Prove Thyself is the best perk when it comes to playing with your friends. Off the Record is a great perk for solo survivors, and Detective's Hunch is a great perk for people who don't have maps. Overzealous is necessary for this build because you will be cleansing totems and it combines incredibly well. It has an incredible synergy with inner healing. Okay, so far I only gave you 2 builds and we are already 10 minutes into this video. It feels like it will take me forever to make this video because I will give you even more builds. So if you appreciate me making this video, please subscribe. Anyway, despite the fact that I showed you some of the best builds in my opinion, they are not as good as the next build I'm gonna show you. This build is very universal. This is a chase oriented build, so if you enjoy getting into chases, or if you are not sure what kind of a build you want to make, if you want to just enjoy the fuck out of your games, these 2 next builds that I'm gonna show to you will fit your playstyle perfectly. This build consists of Adrenaline, Windows of Opportunity, Lithe and Resilience. This is a very simple build. As you know, Adrenaline is good for the end game. Windows of Opportunity will help you to see where is the closest vault, where is the closest pallet, etc, etc. Lithe will make you sprint immediately as soon as you vault through that window or that pallet, which you can see thanks to Windows of Opportunity. And Resilience will help you if you are injured, because it will help you to make sure that you can vault these windows and pallets as fast as possible. Also, thanks to Resilience, when you are injured, basically any action that you are doing in the game becomes faster, so that's a great benefit on top of the base increased vaulting speed. So overall, I think that this build will satisfy most of you, and it's a really simple, fun little build. But I'm not using this build anymore because I found something even more effective. So let me present to you my second chase build. Okay, so this build includes one of the newer survivor perks made for this, which makes you run 3% faster anytime when you are injured. And this is a great perk because it's very annoying to chase survivors that are even a little bit faster than they would usually be. Most killers will drop you and they will not even go after you when they notice that you are faster than usual, because there's no point in trying to get you over a slower survivor. Also, this perk will make sure that after you finish healing another survivor, you gain endurance status effect for 10 seconds, which is a cherry on top of the cake. But the reason why you want to take this perk is that it will make you run 3% faster. That's the main benefit and it's very effective. This perk does not stack with most exhaustion perks like Lithe, for example, because when you are exhausted, then made for this will not work. So don't even try to bring Lithe with this build. I think Dead Hard works perfectly with this build because you will be injured most of the time, so if you get hooked before anybody else, you will be able to activate your Dead Hard, and it's just a useful perk. I don't think that Dead Hard is a shitty perk, and there will be one more build that I will show you which includes Dead Hard, and honestly I think that Dead Hard in some situations it's a very useful perk. But if you don't like Dead Hard, you can take either For the People or Adrenaline or Unbreakable. Any of these few perks. For the People is a very good perk for this build because when you are fully healed, then you can just immediately heal other survivor and then get broken, and when you are broken, then you run 3% faster thanks to Made for this. Also take Resilience with you because you will be injured most of the time, and Windows of Opportunity will help you to see where's the closest pallet or where's the closest window, so you can always see where to run. So this is at the moment my favorite chase oriented build in the game, and I use it most of the time. I think that I will get bored of this build at some time, not anytime soon, but when I get bored of this build, I will go to the previous chase build that I showed to you. Okay, let me introduce my favorite anti-tunneling build, because apparently tunneling is a very big issue in Dead by Daylight. I'm not getting tunneled by killers that often, so I don't see it as that big of a problem, but let's be honest, people hate tunnelers, and this build in my opinion is the best build to fight them. In this build there are 4 perks. The first perk that we are gonna use is Dead Hard, then we are gonna use Decisive Strike, Off the Record, and adrenaline. These perks make a perfect combination. They stack together. Let me explain how this build works. When the killer puts you on a hook and somebody saves you, off the record activates, and if the killer tries to tunnel you, after getting hit, you will gain an endurance status effect. It means that you will not get downed. If the killer proceeds to tunnel you, after getting hit and going down, your Decisive Strike will activate and you will be able to escape the killer's grasp. If the killer continues to tunnel you, well, that's when you use your dead hard. You see, you already got unhooked previously, it means that you are able to use your dead hard. And basically, this build is made to waste as much of time as possible. It's like a time waster build. If the killer is tunneler, well, it's a win for you and your team. You are able to waste all of the time on this game, and in the meantime, survivors can repair generators. You might ask me, why do I have to have adrenaline on my build? Well, this perk is for the end game. You see, when the end game activates, it means when all of the 5 generators are repaired, you are not able to use Decisive Strike anymore. And also, if you are injured, this perk will literally heal you and make you faster, so you can annoy the killer even more. Okay, this is the final build that I will recommend to you, which is the gen rushing build. And keep in mind that I don't advise you to gen rush because I believe that this game is a survivor-sided game anyway, and gen rushing is a big problem plaguing Dead by Daylight. But some of you just want to outrush these killers, and it's always an option. So let me present to you my favorite gen rushing build in Dead by Daylight. If you can hit these great skill checks, then this build will definitely live up to its name. So what you will need is fast track, hyper focus, prove thyself, and stakeout. As long as you can hit great skill checks, hyper focus will be the most reliable and the best gen rushing perk in the game. If you hit great skill checks, then these skill checks become faster, and as long as you can hit them, you will be rushing through generators. Fast track combines with this perk perfectly, making generators even faster. Prove thyself will make them even faster if you got friends or people teaming around you, and stakeout will make sure that if you miss these great skill checks, well, you will get compensated for that. So this build is very effective if you got toolboxes, especially because toolboxes, especially if you got a brand new part add-on, will make this build extremely dangerous for the killer to deal with. And when I use this build, I see many killers just disconnecting because we are rushing through these generators like nothing. As I said before, I don't like gen rushing. I don't even like to do this because the most fun I have in Dead by Daylight is when I'm looping the killer, and I'm just enjoying how slow the gameplay goes. I don't like when it's over within 5 minutes, you know what I mean? I also feel a little bit bad for the killer, but you know, if you don't feel bad for the killer, if you feel great after gen rushing every single game, it's up to you, man. Anyway, these were all of the builds I wanted to present to you. Of course, there are countless of different builds in Dead by Daylight, different combinations. I discovered basically every single build that I showed to you in this video, I discovered by myself. I did not copy these builds from any other YouTube content creators, and I'm very satisfied with these builds. I got almost 3,000 hours in Dead by Daylight, and I'm not sure what's in the future for this game. Maybe you are watching this video like 3 years after I made this video, and within 3 years, like, these builds could be not effective anymore. I don't know what's in the future. But hopefully you can take advantage of these builds. Comment what do you think, and I'll see you later. Bye.